In the pouring rain of a foggy autumn afternoon, a sleek black limousine pulled up to the gates of Willowbrook Cemetery. Out stepped Richard Harrington, a man whose name echoed through boardrooms and stock exchanges, a self-made millionaire whose empire spanned continents. But today, he was just a father, broken and alone, clutching a bouquet of wilted roses as he trudged toward a simple headstone etched with the words, "Alexander Harrington, beloved son, gone too soon." Tears streamed down his face, mixing with the rain, as he knelt before the grave, whispering apologies into the wind. Little did he know, hidden behind a cluster of ancient oaks just yards away, his son Alex watched in silence, alive and well, his heart pounding with a mix of rage and sorrow. What could have driven a father to mourn a living son? And what shocking truth would unravel everything? Stick around to the end, folks, this story will leave you speechless. If you're hooked already, smash that like button and subscribe for more heart-wrenching tales that remind us of the fragility of family bonds. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Richard Harrington had built his fortune from nothing. Born in a cramped apartment in the industrial heart of Chicago, he clawed his way up through sheer grit, starting with a small tech startup that exploded into a global conglomerate. By his 40s, he was featured on magazine covers, rubbing shoulders with world leaders, and amassing wealth that could buy islands. But success came at a cost. His wife, Elena, had passed away from cancer when their son Alex was just 10, leaving Richard to raise him alone amid endless business trips and late-night deals. Alex grew up in luxury, private schools, exotic vacations, but starved for his father's attention. One day, "Son, all this will be yours," Richard would say, but those words rang hollow as Alex spent birthdays staring at an empty chair. As Alex entered his teens, the rift widened. Richard's empire demanded more: mergers, scandals, relentless ambition. Alex rebelled, skipping classes, hanging with the wrong crowd, desperate for any connection. One explosive night, after Richard missed yet another school event, Alex screamed, "You're not my dad, you're just a bank account." Richard, exhausted and defensive, fired back, "If you hate it so much, why don't you leave?" Alex did. At 17, he packed a bag, stole cash from his father's safe, and vanished into the night, leaving behind a note, "Don't look for me. I'm dead to you now." For Richard, the disappearance was a nightmare. He hired private investigators, plastered Alex's face on billboards, offered rewards that could fund small nations. Months turned to years, and hope faded. Then came the devastating call, a body matching Alex's description, found in a river after a car wreck, identified by a tattoo Richard remembered from a family vacation. Dental records confirmed it, or so they thought. The funeral was a media circus, but Richard grieved in private, building a mausoleum of regret. He poured his fortune into charities for missing children, but nothing filled the void. Every year on the anniversary, he visited the grave, crying for the son he believed he'd lost forever. Unbeknownst to Richard, Alex was very much alive. The body in the river? A tragic coincidence, a drifter with a similar build and ink. Alex had hitchhiked to California, changed his name to Jake Thompson, and started over as a mechanic in a dusty coastal town. He worked hard, built a simple life, a modest apartment, a girlfriend named Sarah who ran a local bookstore, and friends who knew nothing of his past. But the guilt gnawed at him. He'd seen the news of his death, watched from afar as his father crumbled in interviews. Why didn't I go back, he'd ask himself in the mirror. Pride, anger, fear of rejection, they all held him captive. Sarah urged him to reconnect, but Alex resisted. He never cared when I was there. Why would he now? Years passed, and life threw curveballs. Richard's health declined, a heart attack at 55 forced him into semi-retirement. He sold parts of his company, focusing on legacy, endowing scholarships in Alex's name, writing a memoir about his regrets. Meanwhile, Alex faced his own trials. Sarah was diagnosed with a rare illness, one that required expensive treatments they couldn't afford. Desperate, Alex considered reaching out to his father but balked at the idea of begging. Instead, he took on double shifts, sold his prized motorcycle, but it wasn't enough. One fateful day, scrolling through old news clips on his phone, he saw a recent interview with Richard, frail, eyes hollow, admitting, "My greatest failure was losing my son. If I could turn back time." The words pierced Alex like a dagger. The turning point came during a stormy weekend. Sarah's condition worsened, and in a moment of vulnerability, she whispered, "Jake, Alex, whatever your name is, you can't run forever. Family is all we have." Tears in his eyes, Alex drove cross-country, back to Chicago, straight to the cemetery where he knew his father visited annually. Hiding behind those oaks, he watched Richard weep, the millionaire reduced to a shell. "I'm sorry, Alex," Richard sobbed. "I should have been there. I love you more than any empire." Alex's resolve cracked. He stepped forward, rain-soaked and trembling. "Dad?" Richard froze, turning slowly, his face a mask of disbelief. "Alex? Is it really you?" The embrace that followed was raw, years of pain melting in the downpour. But the truth? It wasn't just a joyful reunion. Alex confessed everything, the faked death assumption, his new life, Sarah's illness. Richard, shocked but overjoyed, revealed his own secrets, the misidentification, the endless search, the fortune he'd set aside in a trust for Alex, untouched. Yet challenges loomed. Trust was shattered, forgiveness didn't come easy. Richard's business rivals, sensing weakness, plotted takeovers. Alex struggled with resentment, questioning if money could heal old wounds. Together, they navigated the storm. Richard funded Sarah's treatment, and she recovered, becoming the bridge between father and son. Therapy sessions unearthed buried emotions. Richard admitted his workaholism stemmed from fear of poverty, a scar from his childhood. Alex shared how abandonment felt like death. Key challenges arose. A lawsuit from a former employee claiming Richard's grief had led to negligent decisions, threatening the company. Alex stepped in, using his street smarts and mechanical ingenuity to innovate a new product line, saving the empire. Relatable moments dotted their journey, late-night talks over coffee, where Richard taught Alex chess like he did as a child, family dinners with Sarah, laughter echoing where silence once reigned. The resolution wasn't perfect, scars remained, but growth flourished. Richard downsized his life, prioritizing people over profits. Alex integrated his past and present, legally reclaiming his name while honoring his Jake roots. The shocking truth that stunned everyone? It wasn't just Alex's survival, it was the DNA test revealing the body in the river was a distant cousin, abandoned by the family long ago, a twist exposing hidden Harrington skeletons, including Richard's estranged brother who had orchestrated a cover-up for inheritance. The media frenzy was intense, but the family emerged stronger, turning scandal into advocacy for better missing persons protocols. As the sun set on their renewed bond, Richard and Alex stood at the real grave, now rededicated to the cousin, vowing to live without regrets. Folks, if this story moved you, hit that like button to show some love, and subscribe for more inspiring narratives that prove it's never too late to rewrite your ending. Remember, in the chaos of life, family isn't about perfection, it's about showing up, even when it hurts. The strongest empires are built on forgiveness, and the richest lives on love. What would you do if faced with a second chance? Let me know in the comments below, your stories might inspire the next one.